Just got into college? Right on, bro. And yeah, no, yeah. I think I've seen you here like from time to time, like just popping in here and there. But yeah, that's the thing too, bro. Like even going to college and stuff like that. Not that you have to stay watching what I do, but Smash content will never help you with college, obviously. However, talking about confidence and how to give a proper presentation, or how to make friends, or how to deal with stress, how to stay healthy while balancing your academic life, like those types of things, whether or not we can actually, I haven't covered those things, but if I were to cover those types of things, those would be useful for someone like you. And there's way more people in general that go to college and school, obviously, compared to people that play Smash, obviously. How do you bring comfort to yourself in a state of fear? The only way that I know how to do that is knowing that you're not going to die from this. If you know you're not going to die from whatever you're going through, that's the only thing that is comforting, which is pretty terrible to say, but it's the truth. If you're going through something that's fucking terrible and you're like, it's really, really terrible, there's no way to stay calm or comfortable. Like you can stay calm as far as not being frantic, but to say like, oh, this is fine. Like I'm losing my entire life, or my wife's taking the kids, or my parents died, or like I'm losing my job. Like to just be like, oh yeah, Top G said, don't be upset, so I'm chilling. It's like, no, you're still allowed to grieve and feel terrible. Maybe you don't have to show that you feel terrible. Maybe you can, like, here's the thing. If you're someone who's stoic and very strong 95% of your life, and something actually breaks you, then break. But like I said, at the end of the day, if you know you're not going to die from this, that's the only real comfort that you have. It's a sad reality, but it's the truth. To say, I'm going to live for a very long time. I'm going to be able to recover from whatever I've gone through. I'm going to have an entirely different outlook on life. I guess the one other thing too that I could say with regards to having some comfort there is having the self-awareness to know that whatever you're going through, you don't want to allow it to taint you to the point of saying like, yo, I'll never do this again, or I'll never love again, something like that. I'll never get another girlfriend. I'll never take this big of a risk ever again. Like, don't ever just shut the door on opportunity for yourself because you went through something traumatic. Because if you are genuinely a well put together person or a strong person, whatever happened to you happened to you. More often than not, didn't happen because of you. If you made a horrible decision and then it blew up in your face, then you take that on the chin and be like, I have to grow up. I have to like be a smarter person and make better decisions with my life. But if something traumatic or something terrible happens to you, like genuinely to you, as far as like, I don't know, terrible breakup, like I said, wife takes the kids, parents die, like someone gets super sick in your family, you hear someone has cancer, something like that happens to you, and like you can't deal, then that's it. Like then you can't deal, and it's like that's not being weak. That's being person. That's being real. Yeah, I would say like the only real thing, talking to somebody can really help as well, but also it really depends on who you're talking to. Like there's some things I can say in the world where it's like, at least for me, I didn't want to talk to anybody. Well, the only person I could talk to is my mom. That's basically it. Couldn't talk to anybody else. Not my brother, not my best friend, not you guys, nobody. So it's like if something ever happened to her, then I don't even know who I'd talk to. Probably no one. After that, probably nobody. Probably maybe my brother, because like we would obviously both be going through that. But that's about it. I would never be like, I have to talk to my YouTube community about my mom. Like I could let you guys know something happened if something did happen, but like I would not be like pouring my heart out on stream about, oh, she has this thing and what's gonna happen and I don't know how we're gonna do it. I need someone to calm me down. It's like, no, I'll calm myself down. Like I said, even if it costs somebody else and it's very, very extreme, costs their life, if it's not costing my life, you can't go on to the rest of life in society to say that I'm going to just be a train wreck forever because this one thing happened to me 40 years ago. Or however long ago it was. By the time you get to that point, you have to be able to pick yourself up and be like, life has to carry on. Because if it doesn't, that's also one of the reasons why like suicide is at an all-time high nowadays. Because people don't cope because they don't think life has to go on, or that know that I didn't die from this thing. You'll hear people say things like whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, and it sounds very cliche to say something like that because it's almost like, yeah, okay there. But in a lot of cases too, I don't know if I'd say it makes you necessarily stronger, but it makes you at least hopefully strong enough for the next time something like that happens. Because like just like on the other side of, I guess, your high highs, there's also going to be low lows. You can't really have success and triumph and all these things in life without having not necessarily heartbreak, but having devastation. You don't have to have both, but you can't have one without the other. Like there has to be a contrast, because otherwise everything is neutral in life, and that's just not the truth. Yeah, having fear of death. That's legit something that Gary Vee talks about all the time too. Is like, how do I get through this moment in life? How do I feel better about how things are going? Or how do I get myself off the couch one day to like make it so that I can actually I don't know, make something of myself. It's like he just turns to them and say, one day you're gonna die. It's like, so that's supposed to comfort me? It's like, yeah, because whether you live a fucking miserable life or a fantastic life, the end is going to be the same. The point of life, realistically, is to try and leave a legacy of your name or for your family. That's the real point of life, because you can't bring anything with you. So if you know that the inevitable is the inevitable, some people, like we talked about this the other day, about the hero arc or villain arc. If the inevitable is the inevitable, people who chose the villain arc are the people that stay miserable and depressed and cry every day and lay on the couch and say, what's the point? Why should I go to school? Why should I be in shape? Why should I find love? Why should I do any of these things? What's the point of doing any of this? Because if I'm going to die anyways, it's all fucking useless. There's other people that say, I have one shot and I'm going to try and make the most of it. I want to try and fulfill as much as I possibly can, build myself as much as I possibly can, enjoy as much as I possibly can, experience as much as I possibly can. Because when it's the end of my days and I'm 95, in a retirement home or wherever I might be, you can't go back and look at anything or try experience anything anymore, because you're maybe too old to walk or too old to stand or whatever it might be. So now you can't do these things anymore. And if you dwell and wait around forever, eventually that day will happen. It just will. To think to yourself, oh, I'll be 24 forever, but you won't. You won't even be young forever, let alone a specific age or be in a certain time frame. Like if you're someone who's like, and I've talked about this the other day, or from the video like from 3 days ago, like the young adult purgatory, saying like, I don't have to worry about like going and finding a wife because I'll just get married eventually because everyone does. It's like, no, I don't. What do you mean? If you don't seek that, if you don't seek a companion of any sort in your life, you will not just stumble upon it. It's not like, oh, and today I'm getting married. It's like, what the hell? No, it's not how it works. Like people actually have to make an effort, and nowadays a lot of people don't want to make that effort, and then they get super depressed or miserable, saying like, how come I can't find love, or how come no one loves me, or why can't I get married, or any of these things. I was thinking about this paradigm shift that's happening right now, where there was an era, I'm going to call it the fuckboy era, that created a lot of fatherless behavior from women. And what that has now done after the fuckboy era was the fatherless behavior by women era, was created the incel era, I guess you could say. And the incel era has now created the where are all the great men era for women. As time goes on more and more, and this thing is sometimes I'm terrifyingly self-aware with this shit, where it's like, know what's cool nowadays? You know what's actually really cool? Being loyal. Having a husband or a wife, having a family, those things are considered like good now again. But at one point it was like, no, like bros before hoes, fucking, I don't know, boss babe, boss bitch, fucking get money, fuck boy life, all that shit. And then there's a lot of, like, as the pendulum swings the other way, there's a lot of hatred towards the OnlyFans girls and the sleazy fuckboy guys that created a lot of girls that say, I never want to be like that, and create a lot of guys that say, I never want to be like that. And those guys and girls are growing up right now. They're growing up right now saying, I don't want to be like this person or like these people. I don't want to fit into this category of man or woman ever. And like I said, the pendulum is swinging back in the other direction, where it's like now great men and great women are creating themselves because they don't want to be what's been portrayed for so long as the thing to be. It's like, the number one way to be a man is to be heartless. Don't care about any woman ever. Fuck bitches, get money, basically. So that's how, not that a lot of men were raised like that, but that's what they were influenced to do. It was very cool, if you listen to like how rap music has been portrayed forever, it was very cool to try and live that frivolous lifestyle of fuck all girls and fucking live your life however you want to, because you're just YOLO, basically. And then after that, like I said, same thing for girls too. Like you had the whole era of like the OnlyFans and fucking being a boss babe, boss bitch, independent woman. And doesn't always have to be like a clash of titans where it's like the men are versus the women, but it's more so like, even for women, it's like a very important thing for a lot of women now is to be independent. I don't need no man. I make my own money. I live on my own. I take care of myself and all my own bills and shit like that. It's like, yeah, that's great and all, but like when you're 47 and single because you decide that that's the route you want to go down, are you going to be happy that you can afford more Gucci bags than your friends who did get married and they did settle down and they didn't take the job that makes 6 figures and all this other shit? Or are you going to be miserable because you decided that your youth and your time was more valuable to be spent on yourself, and you can continue to say, where did all the good men go? If you are that person, or if you are, or where are all the good women, same thing. If you're that person that decided to go that route and not build themselves, like right now, this is like, I would say from the ages of 20 to 30, that's the training camp era for yourself, or training camp years, to be like, this is all I can showcase, this is all the things that I can do for what you want in life. And like I said, for very much so, like right now with Andrew Tate being a tremendous role model for men to be strong and be brave and build themselves up and try to make money and all this stuff. Right now, there's kind of a void for women. I've seen a couple influencers trying to step up, but I haven't. There's kind of a void for women that have a strong role model that says, you know what's really cool? Being a mom. You know what's really cool? Taking care of the house and taking care of your husband and bringing peace to somebody's life and creating a family and creating a legacy for yourself. That's what you should strive to do. That person right now does not exist for women that I've seen. Right now, they're still on the wave of kill all men, and men are trash, and men are misogynists. And a lot of these girls that are doing this shit, it's not everyone obviously, but when the ones that are doing this shit, they want to continue down that route and then find themselves very lost and lonely, while the other girls that were the silent majority or minority at this point that didn't want to do that shit, they're gonna scoop up all the good men. And then these women that are all fucking miserable are gonna stay like that and be like, did we really make the good choice? Did we make a good choice doing all the things that we just did, or saying all the things that we just said, and living the way that we thought we should because someone else said the same thing and we kind of just went along with it? And a lot of people that fall into that, I guess, category, into that lifestyle, it's like, no, you made a horrible choice, but you've been pitted against the opposition or men because it was popular to do. Or even you might have had horrible experiences in the past where it's like the men that you had in your life were those fuckboys. So as far as you know, that's the only exposure that you actually have. And so now you're jaded. What's the point of getting in a relationship if this guy's going to cheat on me? Or this guy's going to waste my time? Or this guy's going to do all these stupid things to me? I've had it, right? I've banned it, basically. So now they go to the other route, the hero arc or villain arc of women. For them is like, am I going to be miserable and hate men? Or actually, this is two villain arcs realistically. One of them's, I guess you can call it a bounty hunter arc or mercenary arc, whatever, anti-hero arc. Am I going to hate men forever, or am I going to become a self-sustainable, independent woman who just doesn't need a man? And here's the thing: women need men, and men need women. It's not like, oh, well, I don't need no woman. No guy says that. Anyone who says that, they're fucking lying. I don't need a woman. So what do you mean? What do you mean by that? You need a woman to do what? Like, complete yourself as one flesh, as they say when you get married? You don't need that? Maybe you don't want to get married. Then maybe one person or one very specific straw man argument or subclass of people that decide we don't need no woman. Is it that you don't need a woman, or is it that you've degraded yourself and not worked on yourself and have zero skills and let yourself get out of shape and become a depressed, sad sack of shit to the point of now, I can't get no woman? Is that what you're really saying? Because that's what you're really saying a lot of the time. Any man who can get women loves women. Any woman who can get a man to commit to her loves that man. That's obvious. But those types of things are just not really taught or talked about ever. It's like you have to just kind of go on your own and decide for yourself, okay, I'm going to just build myself up. I'm going to max my skill tree for the final build that I would like in life, which is get a strong husband figure in my life, or get the skills put together to be able to attract a woman that I can actually have be the bearer of my children, and then have a successful family life and go that route. Like that's that skill tree, or that, I guess, as far as a metaphor that we're talking about now, that skill tree is not really talked about ever. The skill tree that's talked about for women, for the most part, not all the time, but for the most part, is at this point, become an independent woman, sleep around, do whatever you want. And that's the route they're going down, because they're also living in a delusional world of saying you're going to be young forever. You're never going to be 40 one day and say like, yo, I'm way too fucking old to be doing this. Not old because you don't look good, but old because like this is just your biological clock is saying like, we're supposed to have kids right now. We're supposed to be married right now. We're supposed to be settling down right now. That happens to everyone. And then for men, their, I guess, thing that they're being fed is basically sleep with as many girls as you possibly can, fuck everybody, literally, make as much money as you possibly can, and just stay toxic, as they say. That's not all the messages that you get all the time. Like I said, there are some people that are trying to build up on the female side of things as far as content creators or influencers to try and be like, yo, you shouldn't do this. You should try and live a life that's a little bit more, has a little bit more integrity for yourself, respect for yourself. Right? Being able to, I don't know, like following Cardi B and trying to be like her, that's not how you grow up as a respectable woman. I don't care what anybody says. If you actually listen to her messages and how she conducts herself, you don't really want to grow up to be like her. It's just the truth. And then for men, as much as some people are tremendously uneducated on how Andrew Tate actually conducts himself, he was, or slash still is, that role model for men. He really is. And anyone's like, no, he's a misogynist, toxic, all these things, is like, you've done zero research. You don't know anything about this person. And I'll tell you this, if the average person on earth is dumb as fuck, keep in mind that that's the average. And the average person that you run into on a day-to-day basis is probably the average person, if not dumber than the average person. So if they have this stupid idea of what Andrew Tate is, for example, they have these stupid ways of wanting to live their life, yet they themselves are miserable or depressed or have nothing going on in life, why would you listen to them? It just makes no sense to do. So that's the thing. I will also say too, with regards to Andrew Tate being who he is slash was, he was also a content creator who was saying things to be edgy as well. And if anybody else makes a joke on the internet, it seems to be totally okay. But if it's him, it's not okay. But the real reason why he got canceled is not even because of what he said about women. That's like the biggest, easiest smokescreen in the world, because they know how you guys operate. They know how simplistic you guys are to say, oh, we got the entire world divided, Democrat to Republican, white versus black, men versus women, left versus right. We're just gonna go on a buzzword and say he's a misogynist, but no one talks about any women who are misandronists. I don't know what you would say for that. I'm just gonna say, like, if you really pay attention to what's actually going on, he got banned because he was saying the quiet parts out loud about how society is fucking a lot of people over, as far as even how the media destroys people's consciousness and how people are being programmed to be depressed and hate each other and spend all their time just wasting away on social media, for example. Social media is a distraction. That's all it is. Before you sat in your room or laid on your bed and looked at your phone for 2.5 hours because your phone didn't exist, what did you used to do? What did your parents used to do? They used to talk to each other. They used to actually build a nuclear family that would be strong and build trust with each other and build companionship with each other and raise their kids. Now everyone is divided, even amongst their own home. Mom's watching Netflix, dad's watching hockey, kids are playing video games. No one's talking to each other. Everyone's just being fed information from something else. It's like you're all just plugged into the matrix and everyone doesn't realize it. And yeah, that's one of those things too, where the thing is, like, even with that double standard, it's like, it's also a way to pit people against each other, because women, like I said, that are of value, that believe that men shouldn't just shut up and men can be strong leaders and men can, I don't know, be the head of the household or be, I don't know, a role model for kids or whatever it might be. Those women are also told to shut up, realistically. Or they're not even that they're being told to shut up, it's more so that they just don't say anything because it's not popular to go against the norm. You're not necessarily wrong, but that's more so what social media has been told to, or has taught you to think. And I don't mean they taught like you took the bait. It's like it's everywhere you look, bro. I've thought the same thing too, but it's like if you really are like not necessarily smarter or educated, but if you've had your eyes open is a better way of saying it. If you've had your eyes open to how this has been portrayed or put into your face, you can then say, okay, so basically anything that the media says, I should believe the opposite. That's what you should realistically be doing. And it's painful, but it's the truth, which once again is not on the news or not in social media. If anybody in social, or like, let's say, as far as social media or the media in general, stuff like that, if somebody came into your world, started telling people to wake the fuck up, that you should start to try and take power back, what do you think the media would say about that? Do you think, like, well, I guess this guy's just going to, run his mouth and say what he wants to say, and the people take their power back and they realize that we're full of shit, then we had a good run. It's like, no, this person's canceled. Because once someone has power, they never want to give it up. Ever. Like, that's just how it is. People only give up power if they actually have to. If they're winning with their power, then they don't ever give it up. So like I was even saying too, like with the good women out there that do want men to speak up and they do care about men's mental health and they do care about having a nuclear family that actually is going to be like their future, those women are not popular. Those women are also told to shut up. Why are you supporting men? Are you a closet misogynist? Like they have all these fantastic fancy little tags for people as well. Just give me your label, I gotta go. It's tremendous pain, to say the least. Very tremendous. How to play neutral with the GF? I'll tell you right now, every girl in the entire world will camp. They will camp you into oblivion. Girls really out here playing Sonic, bro. Supergirl Kells, where you at? Is she not the only relevant girl in the entire Smash scene that she plays Sonic? I rest my fucking case, bro. If you're really trying to get a girlfriend, number one thing you have to know for sure, obviously, is you have to be the person that initiates everything. And with responsibility of initiating everything, you also run the risk of getting hurt for free, because that's just how it is. The number one reason why girls will never ever approach you or make a move first is because they can't handle being rejected. They think that guys can. Guys, not that guys can, but guys have to. That's just part of it. It's like being brave. Running into a burning building is not easier for men. They have to be brave regardless. I don't want to fucking do that, but if you have to do it for the greater good, then you're gonna fucking do it. And yeah, you're scared. Being brave is doing something despite being scared. That doesn't mean you're not scared. So same thing, obviously, running into a burning building or like trying to protect someone's life is not the same thing as getting a girlfriend, obviously, but being the person that has to initiate from the start and say, I like you, or I want to get your number, or I want to take you out, maybe I want to like be more serious or whatever. You have to be the person that does all that shit, because girls will just wait forever, and now they have the luxury of being able to, because if you don't do it, some other guy will. That's the power of social media right now, where it's like, I could get a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or no, I could get as the girl, I could get a boyfriend, and I'm just going to wait for the best person ever to just do all the work. Because if some bum comes to me and says all this stuff with confidence or whatever, and then she just says no, it's like, okay. Like for her, it's like, okay, because she has the option. She has all the power because she has the ability to say no. You are proposing something, and they can confirm or deny. If it's ever switched, that's where people are in absolute shambles because they can't handle it. Oh my God, this actually reminds me. There's a long time ago, I used to go busking, which is like playing live music, playing guitar out in the street in along a strip of bars outside. There's one night, like when we were going out and doing that, I would never ever drink, and I'd always drive. And I had this one friend that I played with, and I always told him that when I come out to play with you, I'm out to play with you. So if anyone ever comes up to me and say, oh, like I want to get your number, or oh, you should come to this bar, or you should, well, getting a number is one thing, sure, but I want to go like take you to this bar, or you should leave and come home with me, and all this type of stuff. If that stuff ever happened, I said to him, yo, I'm not going to go with them. I'm never going to do this, because I came to come and play music with you. We have all this equipment out here, and that's going to vanish into the streets so that you're on your own. Because although you'd be okay with that, that's not what I signed up to do. That's not what I want to do. And he said, okay, cool. So there was one time, and this is the funniest thing ever for me. There's one time where we were playing outside this bar, and there's this girl that was absolutely destroyed, hammered. And she thought we were really good and all this stuff like that. We were like playing guitar and stuff. And she thought it was fantastic, as everybody does. And then at one point, like we were just talking for a little bit. And then she took my hand. Remember, keep in mind, destroyed, hammered, super drunk. She took my hand and she said, let's go. I'm like, go where? Where are we going? She's like, we're going to my place. And I'm like, no, we're not. I'm staying with my friend. And I basically memed it. I memed the shit out of it, and it was funny for me. And then I very vividly remember she looked at me and she's like, are you rejecting me? And actually started crying right there. And I started dying laughing. Call me a savage, I guess. But oh my God, that shit was amazing, because I don't know if she's never asked a guy before or what the deal was, but it was just hilarious to me, where it's like, imagine if a guy did that. And all I said is like, no, I'm not coming with you. She wasn't like, oh, like you're super cute. Like, can I get your number? Like, we can talk another day, whatever. Like, I'm here with my friends. I'll see. None of that. It's you're coming with me. So imagine, first of all, if a guy ever did that, ultra omega rape vibes. And that would obviously not be okay at all. So guys are not going to do that shit, obviously. But the fact that I just said, like, I even said, you know what's even crazier? I said, I'm not going to go home with you because you're number one, I'm staying with my friend. Number two, you're way too drunk. This is the truth that I said this shit. And she started crying. Imagine a guy started crying because a girl was that nice and that polite. I'm not going to take you, I'm not going to go to your place and take advantage of you. And I'm also here with my friend who I pledged allegiance to, I guess you could say. Girls, more often than not all of them, but when you're at a bar, girls are fucking savage, bro. They don't give a fuck about your feelings or anything that you have to say. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. They're just like, if you're not the DJ or a bouncer or someone of something that was like, not of authority, but like any sort of prestigiousness or whatever you want to call it, some sort of level of fame within wherever you are, they don't give a fuck about you. They'll be like, yeah, I don't know, they'll tell you off in some way. They'll say like, fuck you, you're disgusting or whatever. Not always like that, but they'll say something that's not nearly as nice or polite as what I say. As the guy, he's gonna take it on the chin like a fucking champ, and then that's it for you. And that's why you get guys that turn into fuck boys, and you have the numbers game that boils down to it, where it's like, well, I'm just gonna talk to 1,000 girls then. And if one says yes, then it was worth it. And if a girl says fuck you, me being nice and polite at the beginning, trying to get this girl to be nice to me, if she says fuck you, then I'd say fuck you, you're a whore. It's like, she said no. How is she a whore for saying no? That doesn't even make sense. That's the go-to though. shit changed like that blows my mind, but it is what it is.